today I'll be cleaning my old PC, installing Batocera as an OS, and connecting it to my NAS so that I can access my retro games. I bought this old PC in 2016 when I was in college. At the time I only needed it for word processing and web apps, so it was a pretty good value at the time. Given that this machine is about to be a decade old, and that my needs have grown beyond word processing and web apps, I built a new PC this year. That left this machine with nothing to do. And what do you do when there's nothing to do? You game. I'll provide the mandatory disclaimer here: do not obtain games illegally. Check the laws wherever you are to make sure you can do what you can and cannot do. That's not legal advice. If you want to commit crimes, that's totally up to you. That's your prerogative. I just am providing that disclaimer for my own sake. I also won't be showing how I ripped the games for obvious reasons. I don't think this will be my permanent emulation rig, but I want to go through the process so that once I buy the mini PC that I intend to use, I can simply transfer over the SSD and everything is all set up. Once that happens, this PC will again have nothing to do. So let me know in the comments what I should do with this PC once I have a mini PC that I can game on. You'll see me install an old spinning hard drive, but that ended up being redundant because I connected it to my NAS. I connected the Batocera machine to my NAS. That spinning hard drive may be useful later, so I just left it in there. It has a space for it. I bought a small SSD so that it can be used as a boot drive since Linux is pretty light. It's 120 gigabytes. So far that's been okay. And that was added using a optical drive to SSD adapter. Okay, so with that, let's tear this down, clean it, add the SSD, and then we'll get into the Batocera and software side of things. Let's plug in a USB and download Batocera. So here we're on the Batocera website. We're just going to this download link for PCs, given that that's what we have. And then once we have that file, we can open it with Balena Etcher. We're flashing it onto this USB drive so that we can plug that into the cleaned up machine. Here I'm showing the things that I updated in TrueNAS. The first being making sure that a non-root user is able to access the machine. That kind of stumped me for a while, so I'm including it in here. And then the other thing is just kind of generally setting up an NFS share. Given that it's two Linux machines talking to each other, that's the best way to go about this. Here I'm showing the Batocera documentation that shows how to allow SSH access into your machine. This will be helpful for editing the boot config file later. Mine was on by default, but I figured I'd show it anyway, just in case your machine, for whatever reason, doesn't have it turned on by default. Here we're in Batocera. You click F1 to access the file structure. You would then go into System, open up that config file. The easiest way to find it is just Control F, SSH. Then you find it here and you see that it is enabled or disabled. And if it's disabled, turn it on. Here I'm showing the Batocera SSH process. First, you want to make sure that you're SSHing into root at Batocera.local, or without the .local works also. The password for the SSH service is Linux by default. You can change that in your settings if you want. Here we're just copying this command, which basically tells Batocera, hey, this boot directory is unmounted and writable up until the point of rebooting the machine, in which case it stops being editable. Then we're gonna edit this boot config file. I'm using Nano since that's what I'm comfortable with, and frankly the only one that I know. So you may need to install Nano into your machine. So you scroll down to where it says share device. I've already edited this, so I'm basically adding in the share that I set up in TrueNAS into this config file. Once that's done and you reboot your system, your NAS will then have the same file structure as Batocera. This structure is the only structure that Batocera will be able to read, which is why it duplicates it into your NAS. From here, you can just add in the ROMs and the saves that you have. Cool. So now that that's all set up, we'll play some games. I've loaded some Game Boy games and some Gamecube games into Batocera. We'll test the performance. Later down the line, I'll rip some other games that I have, but for now, let's focus on these. Okay, so now we're in Batocera. We've got to the loading screen. Here we're just gonna go straight into Game Boy Advance, and for whatever reason, my fucking games aren't here again. Okay, we're back in Batocera. I realized what the issue was. Shout out to some guy on Reddit. The share wait time was set to 15 by default, and actually in my case was turned off. I turned it on, still was having issues getting these games up, changed it to 60 seconds, which is about a little longer than what it takes for this machine to boot up. So it was fine. Ultimately that fixed the issue. So we're good, we're in Batocera, we're gonna play some games. I'll play a Game Boy Advance game. You can pull cover art for these by going to the scraper and then scraping from, I guess these are different databases. I tried all of them, none of them had cover art for these. I'm assuming it's because they're just named incorrectly. But yeah, let's play, what should we play? Let's play Mega Man. I think this is what I was playing before. This is Red Sun? Yeah, this is Red Sun, okay. Yeah, so let's play Red Sun. So this looks to be playing fine. It's at 60 FPS. All of the CPU cores are under 20% roughly. I frankly don't know whether that's good or bad, but I can't notice anything stuttery or anything kind of laggy in the gameplay. And then I guess if we move on to the actual battling portion of the game, which is probably more graphically intensive, it's fine. It runs pretty smoothly. My skill in the game aside, this plays pretty well. Okay, moving on to Pokemon, there's not much to say here. This game is probably not as graphically intense as Mega Man, so it plays pretty well. GameCube games were pretty laggy to begin with. I went into the settings and turned off anything that was set to auto. I then turned on VSync and enabled my shaders to hybrid. After that, I was able to get 60 FPS pretty consistently, like you see here. Mario Kart is a staple in our home, so I had to make sure it was good enough to host game night. I didn't get a before and after, but I think the shader settings really helped to make the game smoother. Since these are retro games, I really care more about the gameplay and not so much the graphics. Speaking of which, I don't remember this Quidditch game being this low res. I don't really like FIFA games, which is what this is, but something about it being coated with Harry Potter paint makes it so much fun to play. For whatever reason, Spider-Man capped at around 30 FPS. The CPU cores reached to around 50%, but that makes sense given all the rain and all the extra elements in the game. That was the highest that I saw, so I think I should be okay. I also didn't get footage of this, but I removed those like side things, the GameCube like overlay. That can be turned off in the decorations section of your settings. That concludes the performance kind of measurements. I know they're very like vague and not all that in depth, but really what I care about is being able to play the games, it not stuttering, and overall having a good time. This was really helpful to do as a proof of concept. I'm not looking to play competitively or anything, just have friends over for game night, so this works perfectly for me. It's fun to step back in time and play the games that you had as a kid. I think preserving these games is important. That way we kind of have them to look back on and just kind of see how far things have advanced. I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed setting this thing up. Let me know if I could have done anything better, or if you've done something similar and how you did it. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.